We are YOM. We were founded to solve the two hardest challenges to cloud gaming, cost and speed. Our solution was to build a decentralized GPU network focused on eliminating latency and drastically reducing costs. This is what we've done. YOM has built the first game-focused decentralized network that allows AAA games to be playable on any screen through your web browser. We now have the technology on which to build the 3D internet, with immersive e-commerce, 3D social media, virtual events, and so much more beyond cloud gaming. Come find out more at www.yom.oo. We are YOM, the game-focused decentralized network empowering the world's creative future.
Hello, 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 hello. Welcome everyone to our monthly AMA. Really cool to see you all here. We're with the four of us, with our very special mystery guest, as we have announced already yesterday via our Telegram and other channels. John Valero, VC at Outlier Ventures. Welcome, John.
Happy to be here, guys. Thanks for inviting.
So, how are you? Is it also as hot where you are, or because I'm sweating my ass off here?
All good. It is indeed. I'm in sunny Spain, and we're starting to have this like inferno, some cold, but I really enjoy the hot weather. So happy with this clear skies.
Cool. All right. Okay, so we have also our CEO Andy here with us.
And hey everyone, how are we doing?
Yeah, I'm good. It's a bit hot, but otherwise I'm fine.
Hey, I was just going to say, obviously, John and I are both in Barcelona, and I think when the temperature builds up slowly, you get used to it. And let's be frank, Barcelona is ready for the heat, air conditioning, blah blah. Holland, definitely not. UK, definitely not.
No.
So it's not. It's a different heat as well, isn't it?
True. That's exactly the case. Yeah. And we also have Jeff, our CXO, with us. Welcome, Jeff.
Nice to have you. Hey, Dale. Good seeing you again. Yeah. Hey, John. Welcome to it again.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's get going. Also, really cool to see all our YOM community members here as well. So if you're watching right now, feel free to send in questions. We can make it a little bit interactive. So we'll be on the lookout for any questions here as well. All right, so YOM is deep in. We're solely focused on cloud gaming, on solving the problems current cloud gaming has, cost and latency. Well, Jeff will go into that a little bit more in a bit. We have a monthly AMA for our community, so that they can, ask us questions and, see what we're all about, what we're doing, what the progress is on our project. As many of you know, we had a restart half a year ago. It's around half a year ago now, exactly. And I'm really excited about all the progress we have made with the new YOM team, with this amazing announcement, with the Deep in Basecamp Accelerator program from Outlier Ventures. That's really amazing. We have as our guest John Valero Odriozola, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. John is a VC at Outlier Ventures. And we're gonna go into the Deep in Basecamp program, into Outlier, and why, or basically our partnership, with YOM. So
let me, Daniel, why don't you let me start? So there are plenty of people who are tuning in, maybe there are people who are tuning in for the first time to find out what YOM is. Let me just launch into a quick updates or a recap of who we are. So YOM is a deep in that's solely focused on solving that problem of cloud gaming. Well, the two problems of cloud gaming. Cloud gaming was this great promise of, hey, we're going to build a game, AAA quality games on every device that has access to the internet. Stadia has tried to do this, Google tried to do this, but they were too early. The two big problems were the cost of hosting through a cloud, through a central server was just too much for a lot of games to do that, to stay live. And then latency was a huge issue as well, because depending on how far away that server is from the end user, you'd have a huge lag, and it would be horrible. Like the game would be unplayable. So what they didn't realize, and what we figured out very quickly, was the answer to this is a DPIN, right? Where the actual true case of what DPIN is really good at, and that is decentralizing, getting the access to all to the between the nodes and the end user nice and small, so that the latency goes away, and then distributing the cost, giving that revenue to the people who own a node, as opposed to centralizing the revenue at a central server. Right, we share the revenue. So that's what we're working on. YOM is a DPIN that is solely focused on delivering AAA quality Unreal projects through a web browser using a DPIN network. It's a fantastic technology. I think you're going to see a lot of people are calling this the DPIN summer, and I think we're happy to be a part of it. So where we are now technology-wise, and John knows all this stuff already, because obviously we've talked quite a bit, but we've got DPIN working. We have it in a test environment. We're at that part now where we're trying to scale out. We're going to be scaling out the node network. That's the next step for us. At the same time, we've partnered with a lot of decentralized storage solutions and decentralized compute solutions. Those will help us expand our network and help us to grow as well. We've got a marketing team that's starting up on July 1st. It's going to help us get our visibility where it really ought to be. All this work has kind of helped to get us the attention of OV and the venture capital groups that are expressing interest in us. And that's kind of where we are today. And that's one of the reasons we invited John on board. So we just announced yesterday that we've been in the accelerator program for the past 6 weeks. We've learned quite a bit. We've been through our pitches and refining all the business ends of things. But now that we've announced, as of yesterday, they announced the cohort, we thought we'd have John onto an AMA so our community could get to meet who's backing us now and how this is going to expand further. I'll throw it back to you, Daniel. That's a quick recap.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you. Thanks a lot, Jeff. So let's get into the questions. John, so I mentioned you're from FVC at Outlier Ventures. Can you give us an overview of Outlier Ventures? What is the mission in the Web3 space, and what is the DPIN Basecamp accelerator program all about?
Sure. So, Outlier was founded 2014. We currently have more than 300 companies in the portfolio, and we are really focused on DPIN. So it's not that we're focused now. We actually have more than 25 investments only on DPIN, and we've been investing since 2021, long before even DPIN was coined as a term. When we were thinking, who do we want to work with to build this program, this Basecamp that's going to last 12 weeks, we looked at the biggest DPIN investor in the space, which is Borderless. They currently have announced a couple months ago a $100 million fund only dedicated to DPIN. Some of the big players or big plays that DPIN has, Borderless has, are Demo, Helium, Kudos. I know some of the big names. And as a technical partner and the chain that's gonna support all the operations, we couldn't think about any other than PIC, which we believe it's gonna be the leader of the space. So at Outlier, we've been doing acceleration since 2021, more or less 2020. And we've worked with Polygon, Wormhole, Near, PIC, as well as big corporations such as Farfetch or Walmart. This makes, I do believe, best place out there to build on DPIN. And we're happy to welcome the best teams in the space. So happy to have YOM on board.
Awesome. It's going to be a DPIN summer indeed, if I hear it like this.
Really cool. Last one that was similar in name, it was DeFi Summer, and it went pretty well. So hopefully so. Looking forward to it.
Cool. Okay, so really exciting. All the projects that Outlier has supported. Really cool, really impressive track record. So what was it about YOM that stood out among the nearly 300 applications for the accelerator program?
So, from big to small, no, but we at Outlier believe that and I do personally so as well, that gaming, it's the or one of the killer Web3 use cases. No, Web3 games are inherently better than Web2 games once the tech capabilities are or the quality of the games are put up to speed, because it solves some of the inherent problems of playing locally, no, and not being able to keep your assets, and also the composability of Web3 makes it way more attractive. So once having said this, we all know that gaming is huge. It's bigger market than music and video combined. But cloud gaming itself, it's well over 100 billion market. And this is something I do believe people are not that fully aware. But the problem on the industry as of now with AAA games, that it's the flagship games, it's that you require consoles and really high-end power PCs to play on. So cloud gaming was actually a really nice solution to it. But as we know, it didn't end up being, or didn't end up fulfill all the expectations because of some problems, centralized database servers, and also how expensive it was for teams to deploy on it. So if Web3 gaming is a thing, and we know we need a bigger distribution method for AAA games, deep-in, it's the only way to do it. It is a niche, as of now, and less crowded compute market than other compute markets that are being invested in. And also something that we're gonna talk later, and Jeff has gone a bit through it, but it benefits from edge computing and like AI. So you could say cloud computing or distributed compute networks are a way better use case in distributed systems than AI. So we really like it to play. Also, as every seed or pre-seed investor, the team plays a really important role, and the background in game development, cloud computing, and previous ventures made the investment pretty easy for us, to be honest.
Nice. That's really awesome to hear.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I'm talking
Thanks a
about our
lot.
due diligence. Huh? I'm not saying it here for the
I was
for
going
the
to say,
audience.
that was really well delivered, John. You're coming onto our team, and you're gonna be sitting with Jeff doing the pitches for us. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, you're hired.
Nice.
Right.
So, and Outliers, you have also, I remember back a while ago, there was always like a bigger vision, for the well, the term, people don't like the term anymore, maybe, but at this moment, but the open metaverse or the 3D internet so that's
Definitely.
still something you're bullish about.
I mean, this is something we've been writing thesis on the open metaverse on 2021. The composability of, I mean, to really be able to build an open metaverse, you need a lot of components to be working at the same time. And some of the things that make deep-in attractive now, which can talk a bit further on this, are coming to fruition. And we really believe, like, to be able to have thousands of people playing locally on the same place and participating in open metaverse, you really need pixel streaming tech on it. So YOM will be a key enabler of this that we've been writing 2021. I think we do have another article 2023, shilling a bit Obi. But yeah, we've been bullish on it since a long time ago.
Awesome. Yeah, so I think we got into this a little bit, but maybe you can expand on it. So in what ways does YOM's deep-in project align with the trends and the future direction of decentralized technologies?
Yeah, and with this, like, I think the key points are actually, again, Jeff spoiled a bit, but
Sorry.
I mean, the most important thing is that cost curves are coming down. Like on the past 2 decades, the cost of computer memory and storage has drastically fallen. And this makes deep-in business models viable now, centralized players and its mode like cloud are becoming less of a factor. And this makes it more viable for individuals and smaller organizations as any network participants to be able to contribute to these deep-in networks without having to rely heavily on economies of scale or spending 10K, 20K, 50K on a node to be able to actually provide meaningful compute power. So this makes that smaller players providing supply do not only increase robustness and resilience of the network, but it increases performance. So actually a distributed network, it's not only more viable, but it's more performant and it's cheaper than the only alternative that there is on the market, that it's cloud gaming or cloud computing networks. So this will be one that it clearly makes. This is another of the typical VC question. No? What's the time to market? Why now? And the why now, it's because it couldn't be made 3 years ago or 4 years ago. That's maybe why some other players failed in the past. And we are confident that this is the time to build it and make it. Finally, I will say the second reason is that actually Deepin solves some of the classical problems of these startups, that it's a cold start. No, how are you until the network it's big enough and has enough power that it has a critical mass at the point where the networks becomes viable at cost and at output. There's this cold start problem that previously there were VC-backed companies burning through piles of money. I do remember 2021, this is a bit off topic, but Gorillas, this like 10 minutes delivery supermarket app. The cost of acquisition was 250 euros per user, and they burned through $1 billion on 2 years. They end up bankruptcy. Yeah. And this is because there wasn't an incentive system or mechanism other than burning VC money to bootstrap a network. With Deepin and blockchain, you actually can do that. So it's one of these use cases where we really believe like this is clearly better than, and only viable through this method than their Web2 counterpart.
Great. Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Well, thank you for the extensive answer.
I'm just only more pumped up every time I hear John talk about it. I get more excited. I think I'm pretty excited about what we're building, but John just gets me more excited about what we're building.
Yeah. Usually these things we don't share our due diligence with the teams. It's a bit special.
Yeah. You clearly have thought about it a lot, or you know about it a lot. So that's really cool.
Well, one of the things I should mention here, it's probably a good place to drop it, but John has provided a couple of thesis papers from Outlier Ventures. We're going to post them on our socials so that people can read. I mean, you could really geek out if you like long, thorough documents. Obviously, OV has thought about this quite a bit, and these documents are steep, but I'm geeking out reading them, and it'd be good for a lot of people in our community to get a vision.
They're steep, but they have nice visuals, and they're well edited, so it's comprehensible, digestible. So yeah, I encourage everyone to take a look at it.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, let's have a look at the future. So, what future trends in the Web3 and the Deepin space do you see as most promising?
I'll answer that one. It's cloud gaming. That's it. There's nothing else relevant. We're not going any further.
Full stop.
AMA over. That's it. We're done.
Yes.
No, sorry to interrupt you there, mate. Carry on. I couldn't resist it. I got to keep quiet, but couldn't help it.
I was thinking a bit on this, but I mean, we're super bullish on Web3, no? I don't know how long, guys, have you been in here, but I still remember 2017 UXs and how painful it was to do anything on chain. The ecosystem is now converging around scalability, usability. There's increasingly more developers building cool stuff around. So this will unlock a myriad of use cases. I mean, there's a lot of chains now doing more TPS per second than Visa or MasterCard. So, I mean, the tech is there, no? It's also true there's out of infra build, and we need to bet more also on consumer apps. But there's really cool things being built, like SocialFi or DeFi. It's true that SocialFi hasn't still took off completely, but I mean, social networks are complicated, no? It's been long since we have adopted another like Web2 social network, but we believe like with the right incentives and giving power to creators, there's gonna be one of these ones that's gonna really kick off. Actually, a month ago we released a another research, last one, I promise, another research paper called Call for Builders, where we highlight some areas that we will focus our efforts on. But it's AI, RWA, it's traction massively now, social fi, open finance, deepin. So yeah, this is a bit general, no? But what was the on deepin also true? I mean, on deepin, I think a lot of business models will be disrupted. What we were not only because of the elements that we discussed before, but having a centralized platform coordinating decentralized services creates inefficiencies by itself. And I'm not going to say always, but I mean, we know that it leads to unnecessary value extraction by some of the players. And I mean, a lot of the new business models or crowd economy models that have become alive and ubiquitous on the last 10 to 15 years can improve through a decentralized governance. No? And we're now starting to see traction, for example, on decentralized ride-hailing platforms. I think it's being built on Solana. And we talked about this some months ago at the fund. No? So I really believe we're going to see increasingly consumer apps in a decentralized fashion leveraging the fintech that are going to stick around and become ubiquitous as well.
Cool. Interesting. So,
sorry, James, before you go forward,
yeah.
It was one of the things that really, as I give the pitch over again, I talk to OV, talk to other people in the deep in space, the idea of decentralizing the revenue, the idea that we can, by putting nodes out there, and we can take the revenue that would have one time gone all the way up to one single corporation, but instead spread that revenue out locally. That to me is it's a huge thing to me. The idea that we're helping people's economic positioning just by allowing them to take the money that would have been given again to one corporation and putting it out in their local communities. I think that's an undervalued part of the proposition of DPINs entirely, and of course YOM specifically.
I'm with you on that as well. I think people always talk about avoiding phrases like decentralization, but I think that's exactly what DPIN is doing. I mean, just on a couple of thoughts I have on this kind of space as to where the world's going. I think, you talk about 2017 and yeah, it was messy. It was horrendous to do things. And I think if you look on a graph, we probably went through this kind of messy, really difficult to do things. Then it went through this kind of really scammy sort of phase. And then it's gone back to kind of normality. There's a little bit of that still in there. But I think what we're really seeing now within Web3 is real world uses. It's none of this kind of, oh yeah, we're going to build, I don't know, X, and people are a lot more savvy this time around. People are looking like, okay, does the technology work behind what we're selling? Would the technology work without the kind of hype, And I think this is where we are with YOM in particular. We're thinking, right, okay, you could take away the crypto element and the technology would still work. The crypto element adds a perfect use case, which we couldn't do without crypto. We couldn't pay people, the small numbers of, hourly rate, minutes, that kind of stuff in USD or euro or pound or whatever. It just wouldn't work. So I think that for me, it feels a lot better. It feels a really interesting and exciting time to be in the space because everything is real, as opposed to being hype or, I don't know. I'm not a big meme person, so when I see dog with hat is worth like £8 billion or euros, something, I'm a bit like crazy. I like stuff that actually does things and has a value and has a social impact and that. And I think that this is where, the kind of the team ethos, and I must admit, I've got to compliment the Outlier guys here. They've been brilliant. Everybody in the team has been amazing. It's been a pleasure to deal with them. And it feels like an extension of our team. And I think if everybody everyone in DPIN and everyone actually in the whole crypto space goes in with that same mindset, then we're going to have some brilliant times. We're going to build some amazing things and we're going to have some real fun doing it.
Yeah, thank you, Lauti, for the shout out. I agree with you guys. Like, I do believe the thing with DPIN also and why everyone is so bullish about it is that it's actually real use cases and you can see the revenue coming, and you actually share the revenue and you unlock new business models that couldn't previously. So it is not only really attractive for extremely Web3 native people, but it's also super relatable. And now that, I don't know if it was a meme or not, institutions are coming, and we're going to see increasingly Web2 money flowing onto the space. Deepin is actually one of the biggest gateways because it's modelable. You can see the flows coming. You can see how the bigger the network it is, the better the business it is, and how by sharing the revenue, you actually attract more people and makes the business better as a whole. So it's a really nice flywheel working out there.
And I'll selfishly mention that, I've been in the gaming space for 24 years or so. I'm watching a lot of my friends, struggle a little bit because the regular Web2 gaming space is contracting. And I keep on saying, get over here to the Web3 gaming space. We've got a wide open pasture, blue skies, lots of opportunities are coming. You just got to get over to where the market is going, and it's going to Web3. So I'm super happy that, that we got involved in YOM in the first place, just because when we can put these high AAA quality games on through a URL, that funnel for all these developers who are putting games out, it's so much larger, right? They're not gate kept by platforms that don't let you use crypto. They don't lose 30% of their revenues to some platform. Like, this is now put it on a website and bring your customers right to it and keep all that money. Development time goes down because they're not having to solve for PlayStation and GameCube or whatever, the Switch any longer. Like, it's all one build that just goes up on a URL. It's just perfect.
Yeah. So, John, you've talked about like the future trends in the Web3 and the Deepin space. So how do you see YOM shaping these trends?
Yeah, everyone's going to follow our model.
I mean, as we're saying, so being able to deploy AAA games onto a URL will unlock a lot of new use cases that we're not even thinking on it right now. Like, so touchscreens created new use cases and new economies embedded into a smartphone. So AR, VR are gonna revolutionize gaming and day-to-day life. No, so AAA games once limited to high-end devices can now be embedded almost everywhere, and this means distribution significantly increases and makes it easier. And there's going to be way more people playing, and games are only going to get better. So someone told me some years ago that it's way more fun when a game is played by the 100 people at the same time than when it is with 6 people. So imagine now being online with 10K people. We're still a bit far on this, not because of YOM, but imagine playing something massively with thousands of people at the same time. So I believe one of the only ways of increasing distribution is through YOM. So if distribution improves gaming, let's go YOM, no? More players, better games, better distribution. It only comes to a better experience.
It's almost as if John saw the test that we did.
Yeah. Have you told him about that test, by the way, Jeff? Or
yeah, no, I don't think we've talked about the test. Yeah, no. I think we got to release a video on it. That's still kind of
okay. No, I haven't seen it.
I think we can mention it now. I think it's quite good to mention the numbers, right, isn't it? I mean, when we were looking, so I didn't realize this, by the way, not coming from a pure gaming but a gamer background, and so Fortnite can run approximately 30 to kind of 50 players. Maybe they could do 100 at one time. The YOM model, we managed to run 500 in one shard, which is unheard of. Most people run 50. So 500 is like, what, 5x Fortnite, which is crazy when you think about it.
We were trying to break it, and we couldn't break it.
Yeah.
So we were trying to crash it, and it wouldn't crash.
This poor little immersive space with thousands of bots, all with different names, like running around, it's crazy. But yeah, I think and I'm with you as well. I think, there's almost this Ready Player One kind of model, isn't there, where everybody's in multiple games, running things, engaging with each other, chatting in, and obviously there is that piece where we do need to keep reality in check and not just drop straight into these, immersive experiences and never come out. But I think there's definitely a massive space for us to do something interesting there.
I'll add, because I can't not add things, right? I'll add,
Go ahead.
we also have that thesis of user-generated content, right? The tools that Unreal has to build content are becoming easier and easier for hobbyists to create, and then assisted with AI, people are making games in like a weekend as a hobby. When we have our network stood up and the cost down as low as we expect we can go, then you're going to see user-generated content and all these independent games pop up. It's just going to be, it's going to be massive for those people who want to treat game creation the same way that people do video content on different online servers.
I really agree with you, Jeff, and I think like creativity in games is going to skyrocket. Like development costs are way down. Indie games are actually a reality. No, I do think on top 10 Steam games, 6 or 7 are indie games. It's the model where you needed a 200 people team to build a game. It's dead, no, and it's only gonna improve. So having a platform to distribute all of these of like crazy indie developers around the world creating UGC games, like, I mean, I think the gaming space, it's one of the ones that's gonna evolve the most on the next 10 years, and we're not even thinking on how big it's gonna be. So really bullish.
I get an update.
I'm having to keep some alpha back. I keep wanting to tell people stuff that we're doing in the future, and I've got to keep it quiet. So
we'll have more AMAs. We'll have more chances to get that stuff out.
All right, I know.
Yeah, awesome. So, John. So, do you have any closing thoughts or messages for the YOM community, and quite a lot of viewers tuning in?
I mean, it's not that I've been chilling per se, YOM, but I mean we ended up marrying with you, no? So there's a bit of it. I do really believe YOM is gonna become a Deepin flagship product because it solves something that can only be done on Deepin. It's better than its Web2 counterpart, and it enables a huge market with a really nice like Web3 ethos embedded onto it. So I will say to the community, go out and try it and like participate, talk on the chat, be on Discord, participate on governance. And if you're in it really for the decentralization and distributed networks, just go and try and participate. Go for it. It's going to be exciting.
Really cool. Really cool. So, so let's get into what's next for YOM. Andy, maybe you can share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, exactly. And funny enough, I've got my list here. So
not too much.
I thought, do you know what? I'm going to miss something, so I've got to make sure I don't miss. So I'm just going to got the headline stuff. So first of all, obviously, and Jeff mentioned earlier, within the technology space, we've got, and I was thinking about this earlier, we've got almost 60% of our technology built already. If not 70%. This is 3 years worth of work. We're there on the front end piece and the demand piece. The next bit is going to be building out, the Deepin back end piece, and that's the exciting bit. But I think without the front end piece that's taken, the YOM guys 3 years to build, we wouldn't need the back end piece. And I think there's a nice bit here about supply and demand, making sure that the two are equal, and making sure that the tail end piece delivers the product that the front end piece, which is the gaming studio build, correctly. Now that's talking about timing, and Yorickson and Kilme saying this, within the next 6 months we should be pretty much there. We've tested, we've got the testing environments have worked. We've got to basically roll out, and we've got to do the node sale, which leads me nicely into the node sale. So in the next 6 months we're going to do our node launch, and that's obviously going out in smaller tranches. We've got the strategy built. They built the machinations, so all the kind of flow of the systems works. All the tokenomics effectively is built. Again, this is just going to be going out, onboarding in tranches, and onboarding the right amount of people. So I think with a lot of node sales, people go out and they just try and sell millions of nodes, and they don't even think about, how are these guys going to earn revenue? Does the demand equal the supply? And again, here we've got this working really nicely, and we think, obviously, with the bonus that we're going to have around building the front end sales force, etc., that will bring more and more demand through. But I mean, to give you a bit of an example, I went to an animation event last week, and that was at Annecy. And literally everybody I spoke to that was building in Blender or Unreal Engine, they were blown away by what we're doing at YOM. And they're very much kind of, look, we can use the assets that we've got and we can bring them straight through. And it's almost every company we're talking to is excited about it. So I think we're probably going to have to ramp the node sale really quickly to actually enable us to have enough for the demand that's hopefully coming in the front end. The events, I mean, we've got lots of events going on. We were really, I don't want to say really successful because it sounds arrogant, but we had a really good reception at Token 2049. Obviously, I was at Annecy. We were at NFT NYC. You were at Consensus, weren't you, Jeff? So,
yes,
that went really well. And I think what we're going to do is just continue that. So we're going to go to Token 2049 in Singapore. We'll be at ETH as well in Belgium. That's going to be an interesting one. Partners. I want to talk about partners because I think there is a tendency within, and this is obviously future planning, there is a tendency within a lot of crypto projects to just onboard any partner and just hope for the best. We're very specific around looking for partners that add value to our business and we can add value to their business, which again is where the Outliers piece came in. But we're looking at, other deep-in networks, the storage spaces, the kind of front-end integrations, the orchestration, again, is going to be really interesting for us over the next 6 months. We've got some amazing partnerships to announce on that side. And again, there's been a few where we sort of got on these calls and we're like, oh, I don't know, and then we're like, we got off the call and they're excited like we are. They're really kind of built up. They're going to do exciting things and everyone's kind of het up. And, there's one in particular, and I won't say the name because we haven't announced it yet. They've got a chicken logo and it's brilliant. Yeah. So that one's coming soon. Layer ones, gaming partners, we've got tons of access within the Epic community. We met the Epic guys 2 weeks ago and had a really good chat with them. They were like, look, this sounds brilliant, first of its kind. And then the IP and brands. I think all the kind of IP, as long as they are forward thinking that we're talking to, they can see a value in what we're doing and they can see, okay, so we can create an environment where we can engage with our customers better, where we can actually monetize it and we can make more money. And then instantly people are like, hold on, this is just mind blowing. Now, obviously some people are not necessarily the ones that you think are going to understand it. They don't necessarily get it, but a lot of the ones that do are pretty cool businesses. Company. So obviously over the next 6 months for us is really formalizing the structures of the business. Again, we are forward thinking here and we don't want to be on the back foot. So we're looking at building a sales team. We're looking at bringing in revenues at the front end, automation of process, deeper use of AI in how to build the business and how to work with customers better. The other things we're going to be doing, which is going to be interesting, is we've got a big focus on community build. We love our community. We can see, I mean, just mention a few. We've got Frank, we've got Kobolowski in here. Great members, great guys. And really fun people to engage with. We want to be giving back to the community. We want to be engaging the community more. AMAs. So again, we want to kind of avoid the kind of regular AMAs just for the sake of doing it, and we want to be thinking, how do we add value to the space? And is that specific deep in AMAs? So we do best practice. We might do some further ones with the OV guys around specific structures within deep in, and really kind of helping other creators to build in the deep in space. This is something where we should all win, from my opinion. And again, the AMAs will be focused around that, and then there will be product specific and partnership specific AMAs to keep everyone in check. Two of the little bits, centralized exchanges. We will be listing on centralized exchanges. And again, when we were first talking about the sexes in March, we were very much like, yeah, we're going to list, blah, blah, blah. We really looked at the space and thought, who do we want to be listing with? And how do we go about it? And initially we were sort of like, right, we want to just list and then move up the chains. I think we want to be listing in a tier 1 centralized exchange. And the way to do that is to increase our token volumes, increase the amount of wallets that are trading with our products, and then you list. And I think this is a point about not necessarily hyping it and just doing these things for the sake of doing it, but doing it really because it's the right thing to do for the community, for the project, and everyone. But again, we are pushing up higher. Sorry, Jeff, you're going to say something?
John, I think when we were talking to John about this morning, I thought he said it very well. John, do you remember what it was that you said this morning about the central exchanges?
I mean, what I know and I can say is that the difficult part of communicating to community around sex is that there's a lot of NDAs around it, and it's not possible to mention names. But I know YOM's volume is organic, and there's a plan to keep building a community from the ground up. I do agree that the way to go on this, I don't know if it's a bear market for altcoins or how to call it, but there's like more dried up phase. It's founders communicating with the community, building with them, and staying there, grow the community, and increasing volumes and increasing activity for it to be able to list on a pure and absolute tier 1 exchange. So I do believe it's the right strategy to go to keep building, being open, planning these interactive AMAs that you're going to be doing on the next months, together with also some alpha that we cannot disclose, but that I know it's coming, and that really excited for the next few months.
Awesome. Okay, so Jeff, can you get into more like the product?
I know you probably have more, but I probably you went over
just
the notes. One
more thing. Can I just do one more? And this is kind of related to OV, and I think there's a really interesting point here around, our goal next is to go out and do bigger raises, to go out and raise the money to deliver, to get the node sale, really moving forward. And I think that's a big focus on us. And the names that we're talking to at the moment are really exciting, like not, when people sort of say, oh, it's exciting, and then they're not talking really about anything exciting. They're just trying to hype people up. This is pretty cool. So again, look, fingers crossed for everyone. But, I think the excitement is definitely there for all of us, but also for the people we're dealing with. And, we want to work closer with the OV guys. I think that's a given. Once this accelerator is finished, we want to be working more and more with you guys and helping you if we can as well. I think that's a big future for us. Anyway, I'll shut up now. I'll probably just ranted for too long. So
I mean, we invested on Fetch 2021. We invested on Boson 2022. We're both now building some really big AI, for example, Basecamp programs. We do have an RWA programs, and they are the main partners, so to speak. So we are really looking forward also to encourage and support companies at OV to grow and hopefully come back and help grow this space together.
100%.
I want to add a little bit of meat to what you were talking about with the node stuff, so we can get some information out about the node. So the node rollout, where the whitelisting page is going to go live in about 2 weeks. We've got the marketing team starting next week, and they're helping us to finalize the whitelisting page, right? So the allow list page, which is key, obviously. And like I said, that's targeted for the next 2 weeks, and that'll really kind of ramp up. We're timing that with a pretty big announcement, the alpha that John's not mentioning, but he wants to mention. It's time with that whitelist. I know, I'm keeping an eye. All right, so that's part of it. We also have a major release in the first week of August that I'm holding back for Yort. Yort wants to talk more about that, and our CTO, if you don't know who Yort is. So he'll be coming on board. We'll do another AMA, and that'll be another big announcement series. Again, this whole summer is going to be all about making big announcements and making big splashes. But so the whitelisting page will come up, and then our target for the node sale really, it's kind of dependent on the speed of the whitelist and the market, right? We don't want to do a node sale if the market's turned down. I think most of us all kind of feel very positive, very bullish about where the market's going to be in August and September, which is probably the start. But it's 10,000 nodes in this first year, and that's really kind of based on what we think we'll be able to pull in sales-wise for the front end. What Andy's talking about, getting those projects online. So it's a matter of balancing the supply of the nodes and the content that we have available. We've spoken to a couple of really big game projects in the Web3 space who are at the very least wanting to put a sample of their game on a website. Some of them are wanting to do full feature sets on a website. So again, those will be major announcements as we solidify those. I'm not going to say their names just yet either. Man, I'm such a tease.
Have you seen in the chat, Rick's teasing people as well from OV. He's like, I'm not going to tell you some other stuff like that. I'm like, God, I love it.
All right, Andy, that's all. I think I put all the meat on those bones. I don't know if there's anything I missed, but maybe we should jump into questions then, Daniel, if there are questions out there.
Yeah. So there's some questions from the community. Let me go into, let me see the first one. So let me see, Druid. Druid. He had earlier he sent in some questions, and there was one second question about where does of course the nodes they want to get, they invest in buying the node, right? And he's wondering where does the money come from, like where or the revenue, so basically.
I did answer that in the community, but I'm happy to go through this a second time. I think we satisfied according to it in the chat. But so the way it works is games who want to have their developers who want to put their content on the network, they pay a network fee. But again, this is like 95% lower than they would pay on a central server. It's really, really inexpensive. And so that revenue that we get from them putting their content on the network is what we translate that. We take some for the maintenance of the network. But after we've converted it into YOM, 90% of that goes to the node operators. And then we burn 3% of that YOM because so we have a cap supply of tokens. We burn a certain percentage that gets cycled through this system, this flow chart. It's like 5% of that goes through. That causes deflationary, so we'll have a cap supply of tokens and dropping all the time, but then game hours is constantly increasing. And this is the economy that we're working with when we talk about the YOM token. So I think that CoinDrew was satisfied. But if more people have more questions about it, obviously let us know. It's really going to be a matter of taking the sales force and getting them out there, selling our network to all these games. Again, I think if you're a salesperson, this is kind of like falling off a log in my mind. Hey, would you like to put your game out there to reach, hundreds of thousands of more players than you would have otherwise? I think it's pretty much easy to sell.
Cool. So I hope that answers the question from CoinDruid. Otherwise, please, in our Telegram, you can also.
He says nailed it. I'm watching his comment now.
Yeah. Okay, and so there's another question. Someone on Twitter asked me about the current adoption of YOM. Might be nice to shine a little light on that area. Who wants to take
adoption of YOM, like the projects we brought in? And you want to do this, or want me to?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to, unless you want to, but feel free to add. Look, I think the focus for us for the last 6 months has been building out the technology for the front end piece to make sure everything works. And there's been some stuff which, 6 months ago, you had to go through GitHub, you had to upload, you had to do literally now it's like you drag and drop your files, you press a button and it uploads, and that's it. And the idea initially has been not even to put a focus on adoption from a studio perspective or adoption from an end client perspective. Now, saying that, every single business we speak to wants to build something, and they're literally like, we got people fighting over doing stuff. I mean, we've had again, I think there's a piece where until we get the supply element sorted, so until the node is up and live and running and the deep in piece, we sort of don't want to take on too many customers. It's been a zero sales effort and we've got incoming customers, which is why I'm so convinced that the demand element is just going to go through the roof as soon as we start selling it. But again, we need to get that node element sold so then we can actually support the rollout on a worldwide basis.
Yeah, we've got one of those really good problems to have, whereas a lot of people want our product, but our product is still in the process of being built. So we don't want to sell the flights on the plane while we're still putting the wings together, kind of thing.
I mean, just as one quote or one sort of idea, we're talking to one studio, and they're a big business, top 5 worldwide animation and gaming studio, and they've got one customer at the front end that's got 20 million users and basically wants to build an experience on YOM.
Yeah,
now,
20 million fans of the IP, right?
Yeah. Now, we're not silly. You're not going to get 20 million people on in one go, hopefully, because we just explode. But, you know, the point being is even if we get 5% of those or, you know, 2% of those, then you've got severe numbers coming through. And that's one customer in one country from one conversation. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, with this, Andy, so like to be able to support this kind of compute or demand, I guess you need a pretty big distributed network. So does this relate to the node sale that you're planning, and how are your efforts of these past months converge onto this demand that you're having, but also the supply you're building up?
Yeah, well, 10,000 is the number we start with, but I tried to ask that same question of Jorrit, and it was like, he's like, look, it's really difficult to sell because of the different sizes of PCs, blah, blah. But the conversation is eventually we should end up with potentially 2 million nodes. You know, we could have as many as the need is. And as more and more, I mean, do you know, the funny thing is, I always relate this back. I always think, because I was around when the internet came out. And people are like, oh, it's never going to take off. I'm never going to order my holiday on the internet, you know. And then people are like, I'm never going to game on my phone. Are you crazy, you know? And I remember in the game, Jeff, you'll remember this, in the gaming space, people look down their nose at the kind of that space. And now that is that's the standard. And I think this is where we should be going.
It used to be that free-to-play gaming was considered like, why would you do that? It's a horrible thing to do. And now Fortnite is exactly that, right? They're making gobs of money off of selling, you know, vanity items, skins, and things. It's the market moves. There's innovation that always happens, and the market moves to that innovation. And I just think that we're, you know, part of that train.
Yeah.
Cool. I have a question from Robert from Chateau Crypto, and this is to Outlier Ventures. So, John, how do you see the rest of 2024 market-wise and Deepin as narrative?
Oh, if I had the right answer, we wouldn't be working more or less. But I mean, and this is personal opinion and non-financial advice. I do believe macro is still good. I do believe bull cycle, it's not invalidated. There's some catalyst coming, no? Post-halving months, usually on summer, have been choppy. It's true that there's a lot of high FTV tokens, and there's a lot of supply that came to the market that it's been difficult to absorb. There's things coming, there's catalysts coming, and we'll see with the elections. We need to see how the global liquidity develops, and we'll see how it comes with the interest rates. I think the hawkish position of the Fed has hurt a bit the market, but hopefully going on to Q4 and with the election coming and crypto being bipartisan and a topic on the election will improve on the sentiment. So I do believe we maybe have some still more months of pain, and it will become better on Q4. These are regards to the market, and Deepin itself, I mean, you just need to see it. So there's funds being raised both on Web3 and Web2, increasing interest into the space. There's more players coming. There's more infra being built vertically for Deepin. That's only going to make the experience better. And there's going to be a lot of new businesses that are going to come out on leveraging the tech. So I will say it's one of the spaces I'm most bullish in. Also for the long term, no, not cyclical. So there's some things that have hype and they then fade. But I think this is the kickstart for long and sustained rally for Deepin, because as they were saying, it's real business models. It's revenue generating. It's making users full, and it's making networks only grow and stronger, and better business models will only reinforce this narrative. So the longer Deepin projects exist, the better the business offering will be. So I think it's here to stay, definitely.
Awesome. Well, to summarize this session, I think it's there's a lot of bullish sentiments here. I mean, all right, I think it's really exciting to hear, such a company like Outlier Ventures, such a big player in the space, so excited about what we're building with YOM. So thanks a lot for all the compliments and what also your time today, and all the insights you have shared. Really appreciate that. It's really awesome. So thanks, John.
Daniel, let me just gush a second as well, because again, we've met so many different people in the fields of marketing, tokenomics, pitching, just general business practices. It's all these experts that OV has at their avail, either their advisors or the people at Outlier Ventures. They've been so smart, so good, and it's been such a. I've been so happy to be working with them because again, I feel like I know something, and when I get a meeting with those guys, I'm like, oh, I've learned something new, right? And it happens every day, every meeting now. So appreciative of OV.
Yeah, agreed.
So if you want to follow more of our updates, we have a lot of we're active on different social media, but I think the most important one is our X account. I've put it here below, YOM_official. So if you want to be updated on our progress, please follow us on there. And Outlier Ventures, where can we follow you, John? I think also on X. I see you also have a lot of followers on LinkedIn.
X is our main communication channel. It's OVO HQ, but you can find it through Outlier Ventures, definitely.
The
Awesome.
only thing I would say very quickly there is do come and join us on our Telegram and Discord channels. On the Telegram channel, obviously the community is talking about, you can learn stuff, ask questions, etc. So again, do join us on Telegram as well.
Yeah, and remember, it's yom.oo. That's our website.
Yeah.
OOO is unique.
Awesome.
And
so
one last thing I'm going to throw in there too, because if we can help in the community, spread the word of what we're doing. I especially want the word to reach out into the game development community, because I think again we offer a powerful addition to their funnel. So if you have friends in the gaming community, or you're involved in any of those gaming communities, whether they be guilds or you work for a developer or something like that, point them towards us so we can have a conversation with them.
Sounds great.
All right. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I see a lot of viewers on X, so that's exciting. Thank you, John, again for joining us. Andy, Jeff, was a really awesome discussion. It's always fun with you guys, never boring. And all to all the YOM community members. See you at our next AMA, and see you in our different channels. So and enjoy the weather outside. Touch on the grass.
Thank you for hosting. I appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Thanks ever so much.
Have
Have a great day. Cheers, John.
Cheers.